coming to you live.
It's a Sid Rosenberg Show.
Say the full name of the listing you want.
640 Sports.
I listen to it 24/7.
I'm gonna rock your world. Sid Rosenberg.
Sid Rosenberg is on.
The 2-0. There it goes. Deep left field. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Oh, what a home run. Alex Rodriguez hit one from here to there in left field. It's an A-bomb from A-Rod. And the Yankees take a 3-1 lead. Here's the 0-1 to Young. Hit on the ground toward the hole and through to left field. It's a base hit. Piazza will score. It's a base hit and an RBI for Delman Young, and the Orioles take a 4-3 lead. Davis leads off third, and the pitch line towards center. Racing in is Ellsbury, can't get it. It's a base hit. It's the third hit of the night for Joseph. It's a ribby single, and the Orioles now take a 7-3 lead. Now here's 1-0. Grounded towards second. Scope touches up second. That's it. The Headley hits into a unassisted force out at second. Ball game over, and Baltimore wins.
It's frustrating. It's not the way you want to start. We get an off day tomorrow, and we need to turn it around. Obviously, we need to start winning series, or it becomes a long year.
Line drive left field, sinking quickly and in for a hit. One run is in. Etch being waved. The throw to the plate, cut off, and down to second base goes D. Gordon. And Miami strikes first this afternoon, grabbing a 2-0 lead in the third.
A high fly ball to left center. It is way back there, and it is up and away into the first row of the seats to the left of the 380 sign. 4-0 now over the Braves. It's a high fly ball to deep left. It's going to be up and away, and a home run for Michael Morse. His first. He's given the Marlins a 5-0 lead. Swing and a miss, strike three in the ball game. And the Marlins have won 6-2. We'll have a look at the totals in a moment on the Marlins Radio Network.
Another one of those floaters is smacked to the left field corner. It's deep and to the wall. It's gone. A line drive homer down the left field line by Travis d'Arnaud, and the Mets lead 2-1.
Duda greets him with a long one deep. Right center. Track, wall, goodbye. Home run. Lucas Duda. It is 4-1. New York over Philly. Swinging a drive to left center. Instead, it's a base hit. That'll split the outfielders and roll to the warning track up against the wall. d'Arnaud speeds around. He's heading home. He will make it standing up, flying across. A double for Duda. And it's 6-1. Bouncing ball past the Mount Tejada Chargers as the second hop throws. Ball game. The Mets have swept the Phillies. 6-1. The happy final tonight.
I looked at today's game as a very big game for us with the loss of David. I wanted to see how the guys came out. They came out this afternoon ready to go, ready for practice, and David was there right behind him. So I thought it was a good game for us, and it's a great start in our homestand, and we just got to continue it. Just the guys seemed like, hey, look, it's just another day, and. Obviously, I thought Travis did a great job. Everybody's wondering who you can hit in David's spot, and Travis went in there and did a great job in that role. And again, it goes to show you we get some guys on, and we score some runs. And tonight, John Neese gave us a very good game. I was very happy for Alex Torres to come in and finally get himself in some rhythm. So it was a good game, and we've got to continue to play well at home.
Washington moves it quickly through the neutral zone. Intercepted by Boychuk to Brock Nelson. Through the right circle. Shoots and scores! Brock Nelson has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead just over 6 minutes in. Tavares out there with his top line wingers, Ryan Strome and Nikolai Kuhlman. Wins it to Strome, who shoots and scores! Ryan Strome buries it! His first ever playoff goal in the National Hockey League. 2-1 lead. Franz Nielsen put it in front looking for Bailey. It was blocked. The Poso got it. Turns and shoots loose in front. Bailey a try. Hoping the save. Rebound. He scores! Josh Bailey has made it 3-1 Islanders with under 10 minutes to play in period 2. Brock Nelson scores into the empty net. Brock Nelson, second of the game, is going to seal this one for the Islanders. They lead it 4-1 with a minute 19 remaining. The buzzer will sound, and the New York Islanders have their first Stanley Cup playoff Game 1 win in 12 years as they steal home ice tonight from the Washington Capitals with a 4-1 win.
On indictment 2013-983-A, charging the defendant Aaron Hernandez with murder. What say you, Madam Foreperson? Is the defendant not guilty, guilty of murder in the first degree, or guilty of murder in the second degree?
Guilty of murder in the first degree.
Madam Foreperson, by which theory or theories, deliberate premeditation and or extreme atrocity or cruelty?
Extreme atrocity or cruelty.
Upon your oaths, you do say the defendant Aaron Hernandez is guilty of murder in the first degree on indictment 2013-983-A under the theory of extreme atrocity or cruelty. That the defendant is guilty of unlawful possession of a firearm while not at home or work on indictment 2013-983-B. And that the defendant is guilty of unlawful possession of ammunition on indictment 2013-983-C. So say you, Madam Foreperson, yes or no?
Yes.
So say all the members of the jury.
Yes.
The Salvation Army band played, and the children drank the lemonade, and the morning lasted all day, all day. And through an open window came, like Sinatra in a younger day, pushing the town away.
Well, there's one for the good guys, huh?
Yeah.
One for the good guys. Aaron Hernandez is going to jail forever. He's going to rot and die in there. And, you know, it's one of those things. You know, I'm married, of course, to a very beautiful but a defense attorney who really believes, pie in the sky, justice, all that. Everybody is entitled to their own defense and all that nonsense, you know. And then every now and then the lawyers screw up, whether it's O.J. Simpson, where obviously Christopher Darden and Marsha Clark screwed up. I'm not going to say that the lawyers screwed up in the Casey Anthony case. Maybe Baez just did a very, very good job, or these jurors are morons. I don't know. But every now and then we see a case that is looks like an open and shut case. And because of some technicality or because of some who knows what, an obvious murderer walks away. And a lot of times, fame and fortune is attached to that, which doesn't seem fair, right? I mean, how much money you make, what you do, should have really no bearing on whether you're innocent or guilty. But we've seen that before, whether it's Robert Blake or O.J. Simpson. These names come to mind, right away. And being that Aaron Hernandez was fresh off a $40 million contract, literally months before this lowlife, this moron, did all these things. And he did worse before that. You thought there was a chance here that he was going to get off. That, combined with the fact that every defense attorney I saw on television couldn't understand why the state went for murder one in this case. There is no smoking gun here. They never found a weapon. All of the evidence is circumstantial. But I always say this. If the evidence is circumstantial, but there's a heck of a lot of it, why shouldn't that be enough to get a guilty verdict? And sometimes it's not. And the prosecution brought in 132 witnesses in a brutal Boston winter, right? I mean, every single day, 10 inches of snow, and it seemed to work out here because in the end, without a weapon, they never found the gun, although they have video of his fiancée, who was, of course, crying in the courtroom yesterday as Aaron Hernandez went from bar to bar and strip club to strip club and banged everything that walked and went gun-toting and hanging out. He loved his fiancée, though. Don't get me wrong. He loved her. Moron. So there's a video of her, I guess, throwing out some box, and they absolutely believe, the jury and the prosecution, that she was disposing of the gun. They don't know that. They just got a video of her throwing something out. So, again, all the evidence, very circumstantial. You would think a defense attorney's dream. Most of these attorneys thought there's no way he's going down for this. Now, the bad news for him was was that the consensus was he was going to be in big trouble for the next one, which was a double homicide where seemingly they had even more evidence against him. That even if he skated by the Lloyd murder, there's no chance he's getting by the next one. They were going to get him eventually. But now it doesn't matter because they got him on this one, and it made me happy. You know, Joyce Kaufman, the very, very brilliant Joyce Kaufman, who was a great guest on this show yesterday, but more importantly, does a terrific job hosting her own show, noon to 3 each and every day on my sister station, 850 WFTL. She's like, what am I missing here? Why is he guilty? I'm like, what do you care? I mean, there's no doubt the guy's a murderous thug, whether he killed 1 people or 2 people or 3 people, and, you know, whether or not maybe the defense came up short. Maybe the prosecution did a very, very good job. Maybe these jurors and America are sick and tired of the bad guys winning. You know, Lionel's coming on in 30 minutes at 6:45. And I don't pretend to be smarter than Lionel. Lionel's a much smarter guy than I am, and he can basically, you know, read off from memory the whole Constitution and Bill of Rights, and he'll give us cases and examples, and he's a very, very smart guy. But what people like him don't seem to understand is real Americans, not that he's not, are tired of it. We're tired of criminals walking because of some technicality in court. We're tired of people crapping on the cops because, look, I saw what happened in South Carolina. I get it. Now, it was awful, and that cop should be hung out and should be in big, big trouble. I agree with that. But I did think that what happened in Ferguson, Missouri was ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I thought what was even more ridiculous was the way the whole community reacted. And the same thing with New York City, where I thought it was unfortunate Mr. Garner died, but even that got out of control. So when I see a guy rob not 2 places, but 3 places during an afternoon, walk out of a Walmart with a loaded gun, walking down the street in Tucson, Arizona, where there are pedestrians and people walking by, shooting the gun into the air, I don't know if that guy is going to turn around and start shooting at the cops, who, by the way, in this country, in America, their lives mean nothing. It's devalued because the bad guy, he's got the rights. See, if he turns around and shoots the cop and the cop dies, then you guys feel bad. Then you feel badly. But until that point, the cops have no rights. They got to figure it out. This guy is walking down the street with a loaded gun, shooting the gun into the air, totally capable of killing anybody at that point, and it made me hard. I got a great erection watching that cop car just throw this bastard's body into the air. The only thing that bothered me yesterday was it didn't kill him. I swear to God.
Oh, it didn't kill him?
It didn't kill him.
Damn, I didn't know that.
And then, of course, I celebrated that video yesterday, and people like Lionel, who's tweeting all day, he's going to kick my ass, and he's going to explain to everybody. Listen, I understand the Bill of Rights. I understand people have their rights. So, yes, you're going to win that argument. What I'm saying is, I'm tired of the bad guys winning. I'm tired of the sympathy for the bad guy. I know cops screw up. Believe me, I know that. But the overwhelming majority of cops put their lives on the line every single day with zero gratitude. Zero. They are treated like garbage. And this cop in Tucson, was it excessive force? I don't think so. Again, I'm sad he didn't kill him. Swear to God. Take back the streets. I don't care. Take back the streets. So that was my day yesterday.
Well, sounds pleasant.
Well, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of all of the legalese and rights, and just shut the hell up, okay?
Absolutely. I'm very proud of this jury because I was expecting the hung jury and on the
right,
no motive. You can't
no motive, no gun. We couldn't find anything, and the evidence just didn't seem to. Just shut up, okay? Here's the evidence, okay? He showed up at the scene as a video with Odin Lloyd. And the very next video has Aaron Hernandez back at his house without Odin Lloyd. They've got witnesses. They've got guns. I mean, it's enough already. So for me, even though legally a defense attorney may have a very good argument today, for me, I was thrilled to death Hernandez got murder one, was convicted, and I loved watching that cop run over that criminal. He was a criminal. He robbed 3 different places. He had a loaded gun and was walking down the street, and that cop just ran him over. It was great, and we should do more of that.
Well, I mean, would people have preferred if he would have stopped the car, got out, and shot him in the back a few times? I mean, Would that be not?
Yeah,
the cop made,
no, but then, guys like Lionel would feel badly today for the cop, right? But at that point, it's too late. Now, the cop did tell the guy more than once to stop. Then the guy put the gun to his own throat, and the cop was like, no, don't do that. So the cop more than once reached out to this guy to stop doing what he was doing, put the gun down, and stop. And once the guy doesn't do that, I don't care what you do to him. I'm sorry, I don't. Shoot him, run him over, I don't care. Because if my mom or my sister or my wife starts walking down the street and this maniac with a loaded gun decides to just shoot her, and everybody feels badly afterwards, ain't going to get that far. It ain't going to get that far. So call it frogging, I don't know, whatever verb you want to call it. It doesn't matter to me. It made me happy. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of what's happened to our country. I'm so sick of it. I really am. But then I was in a good mood because the Mets won too. So
the Mets swept.
And obviously after David Wright got hurt a couple nights ago, all we heard was gloom and doom coming out of Queens, right? I mean, the best player, the captain, David Wright, is out for an extended period of time with a hamstring injury. We know the Mets can pitch, but offensively, we think they're challenged. Now you lose your best offensive player. It can only be a disaster. So what happens? Home run, Travis d'Arnaud. Home run, Lucas Duda. And a great pitching performance by John Neese, who also knocked in a run with a big base hit of his own. And the Mets easily got by the Phillies last night, 6-1, to, like you said, complete the sweep, and they are on their way. Now, the Marlins had also won earlier in the day. The Marlins had an early start yesterday. They started at noon at Turner Field in Atlanta, and they won easily. Danny Herron pitched well. Hechavarria, a home run. Another good game by D. Gordon. They beat the Braves by a final score of 6-2. So after the 1-6 start, your Miami baseball Marlins have won 2 games in a row. So they go to New York with that very impressive 3-6 record, and they start a huge 9 games in. So you've got about 153 games to go. We're still in the month of April, and I am deeming this series, which starts today in Flushing, Queens, at Citi Field, the house that Mookie built, this huge 4-game series between your Marlins and my Mets. I am deeming it huge.
It's very huge.
How big is it?
Well, it's the Road Warriors. Here come the Marlins, baby.
The Road Warriors.
See how hot they are on the road?
They are red hot, yes. So Mets and Marlins, 4 games in Queens starting today. For the pitching matchups, tonight, I should say, it'll be tonight. It'll be Jared Cozart on the mound for the Marlins, Dylan G on the mound for the Mets. Yankee fans, remember this guy, David Phelps, on the mound for the Marlins tomorrow night in Queens. Bartolo Colon on the mound for the Mets. Saturday, Matt Latos for Miami. Jacob DeGrom for the Mets, and Sunday, Tom Kohler on the mound for Miami, and the unbeaten 2-0 Matt Harvey on the mound for the Mets. So those are your 4 games, your pitching matchups, the Marlins and the Mets. The Yankee bullpen blew it last night. Nathan Eovaldi had a 1-1 lead. A-Rod, an A-bomb from A-Rod, a long home run, just to have David Carpenter and Justin Wilson give it away. So a late rally by the Baltimore Orioles ensured a 7-5 Baltimore win. So the Orioles take the series from the Yanks. They take 2 out of 3. The Yankees enjoy a day off today and travel to Tampa Bay. They're up in Clearwater for a 3-game series against the Rays this weekend. Then they go to Detroit to start the week next week, taking on a red-hot Tiger team that won again last night. They beat the Pirates to improve to 7-1 in the early going. And the Yankees will take on the Mets the end of next week. So Marlins at the Mets now, Yankees at the Mets next week. A couple of really good series going on in Queens.
It's the place to be.
Yeah, well, we're nowhere near it. We're in Pompano.
Well, for those who are close
by.
Right,
for those lucky people, sure.
Those lucky
That's the place
people.
to be. So. And Z-Mac is in a great mood today, obviously.
I flipped it on last night, saw a 3-1 lead.
And they go on to win it easily, 4-1. In fact, of all the games last night, I believe the other 3 games were all 1-goal games. The Canadians just getting by at home. They got by Ottawa 4-3. It took double overtime for the Blackhawks to beat the Predators 4-3. Calgary over Vancouver on the road 2-1. So 4 games last night to start the NHL playoffs. 3 of those 4 games had road winners. And 3 of those 4 games were decided by just 1 goal. The only easy win, as you just said, a 4-1 road win for Steve Z-Mac's New York Islanders last night.
Taking over New York.
They're taking over New York, baby.
The Isles are taking over New York.
That's all they're talking about in the streets this morning in New York is the New York Islanders. That's it. Not Bill de Blasio, not the Rangers and Penguins later on tonight. All they are talking about up in New York are your New York Islanders.
Well, road win is pretty big in this.
Oh, that's a
Cup
huge
playoffs,
thing,
right?
Well, no, 3 road teams won last night, so it's obviously not that big. And I would imagine a couple more road teams will win tonight. 7 o'clock tonight at Madison Square Garden. It's the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers. Also 7 o'clock tonight from Tampa Bay. It's the Red Wings and Detroit. And then in the Western Conference later on tonight, Minnesota at St. Louis. That is a 9:30 start. And the Winnipeg Jets at the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. That is a 10:30 start. Now, basketball, the Miami Heat won last night, but of course we found out 2 nights ago when Indiana beat Washington that for the first time since 2008, after going to the NBA Finals 4 consecutive years and winning 2 championships, the Heat are not in the playoffs. There were a couple of teams that had the opportunity to make the playoffs last night as an 8 seed. One won and stayed there. That was New Orleans. Your New Orleans Pelicans, despite a big road win by Oklahoma City, where they blew the doors off Minnesota, that put the pressure on New Orleans to have to win at home to hold on to the 8th and final playoff spot inside the Western Conference and beat a very good San Antonio team, and that's exactly what New Orleans did. So congratulations, Eric.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of my team.
Yes, your team that you never watch at all year long.
Well, no.
You really can't name one player outside of Anthony Davis on the club, but you are a rabid fan. Rabid.
It's New Orleans.
Have you figured out a second player yet? Because the playoff starts this weekend.
I did. I saw, I saw a guy being interviewed last night.
Yeah, you may want to know this because they're the second game on Saturday at Golden State against the 1 seed. You have no idea, do you?
Yes.
Was it Quincy Poindexter?
That's it. I swear to God, Poindexter. I knew it was a crazy last
I just took a guess. I had no idea.
Quincy
That's
Poindexter.
Very, very funny.
Being interviewed.
Okay. Very good. All right, so they made it. Now, in the Eastern Conference, Indiana was in the driver's seat for the 8 seed last night. They had to get a road win at Memphis to stay there. Even if they did not win, they would have to hope that Orlando beat the Nets in Brooklyn. As it turned out, Indiana lost to Memphis, and Brooklyn beat Orlando. So the Brooklyn Nets are in, and the Indiana Pacers are out. Very exciting stuff.
Oh, this is huge.
So your basketball starts on Saturday. The first game is the Wizards at the Raptors. Then you get the Pelicans at the Golden State Warriors. Then you get the Milwaukee Bucks at the Chicago Bulls. And then you get the Dallas Mavericks at the Houston Rockets. That's all on Saturday. On Sunday, you get the Boston Celtics at the Cleveland Cavaliers. You get the Brooklyn Nets at the Atlanta Hawks. You get the well, I can't read my own writing here. I have no idea what the third game is. I really have no idea.
In the East?
The fourth game is the Spurs and the Clippers, but I have no idea who that third game is. I really don't, so. But just trust me, there are 4 games on Saturday and 4 games on Sunday.
And right.
I can't even read my own handwriting here. Let me see. Portland at Memphis. Trailblazers at the Grizzlies. This is the one the world is waiting for.
That's big.
Yeah. So the NHL is rolling along. The NBA is all set. You got the baseball going on. We talked a little bit about Aaron Hernandez, and we talked about the cop video running over this scumbag lowlife in Tucson. But to me, the story that I couldn't get away from last night, because, of course, I'm a Brian Williams guy. But Brian had to leave for a little while, unfortunately. And I can't watch Lester Holt. I like Lester. He's okay on Saturday and Sunday. He's not working for me 5 nights a week. And I'm mad at CBS for the way they treated me over the years. So I've had to, really by process of elimination, I'm an ABC guy. So now I love David Muir. I love him. I don't really love him, but I can't watch Lester Holt, and I'm mad at CBS, so I'm a David Muir guy.
All right.
He's a good-looking kid. You have to agree with that, no?
Can't really place his face.
David
right
Muir, very good-looking guy.
Okay.
So I'm watching ABC World News tonight last night. They started off with the Aaron Hernandez guilty verdict. Then they went to the cop thing in Tucson. But the story that was just, you can't make this up. I mean, we have John Cardillo on all the time, former New York City police detective, and he's always talking about this stuff with Glenn Beck all the time, security breaches and Secret Service and Department of Justice, but specifically the Secret Service guys that are only worried about getting boozed up and getting hookers, and people walk right into the White House. You can walk right in. Walk right in. Well, how about this guy from Florida, one of our very own, this old maniac, who flies this, it looked like a helicopter, I don't know what the hell it was, onto the lawn of the Capitol building, literally 100 yards, a football field away from the entrance of the Capitol building, in a no-fly zone. where that thing should have been shot out of the sky. And as it turned out, he's some wacky 60-plus-year-old guy from Florida. But how does that flying apparatus make it onto the lawn in front of the Capitol?
That I know. I saw that myself.
That was amazing.
It's unbelievable. It's frightening at the same time.
Guy had he's like, well, I emailed Obama, told him I was coming. He had letters for all of Congress and.
Yeah, I mean.
How the hell does that guy make it that far?
Shot down.
Of course. I don't know what's going on with this country, man. I don't know what's going on. Guys are flying helicopters onto the grass. People walk right into the White House. People get upset when cops do their job. People's rights. What a joke. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't need your rights if you didn't walk into 3 stores, rob them all, and rob a loaded gun. See that guy that the cops ran over yesterday? He wouldn't have to worry about the Bill of Rights if he went to work every single day, had a real job, and wasn't a criminal. God, we spend so much time in this country worrying about the bad guys. It's amazing to me.
It is.
Well, how would you like it if you walked out of your house and you were profiled every single day and pulled over because you were a Jew or a black or a this or a that, and very easy to talk and shut up. Just shut the hell up, okay? I've never won anything in the court system, ever.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of African Americans out there who have experienced racism and haven't turned to a life of crime.
Correct.
They somehow get along. They somehow deal with it.
Don't make excuses and don't riot and don't.
They have jobs. They have families.
I've got plenty of friends in Boca, African American guys. Never pulled over once. Never pulled over once. No. Well, that's because you have to go to Ferguson. You got to go to Flint. You got to go to poor America. Right, because God knows in those communities, nothing bad's going on. Right, like these cops. These horrible cops, they don't have to worry in those communities, right? They just walk, they're going to work every single day that somebody in an effort to show bravado is going to shoot them in the head, right? That doesn't happen, right? No.
Well, that's just another day at work for those guys.
They sit around at their morning meeting, all the cops, at 9 a.m. and go, what young black kid today, what young innocent black kid today can we go shoot? And again, it does happen. Yes, it does happen. And when it does happen, it is gross. Watching that video of that cop in South Carolina makes me nauseous. Michael Brown didn't make me nauseous. He was a bad kid. Bottom line. I'm not going to go over the whole thing again. Trayvon Martin, all this stuff. What happened to the kid Rice? Terrible thing. Kid had a toy gun, 12 years old. That kid should have never died. Those cops, that was awful. I'm not here to tell you cops don't make mistakes. What I'm here to tell you is, in overwhelming numbers, they display courage every single day and keep all of you pussies safe. That's my point. All you big talkers who, God forbid, a window breaks at 3 o'clock in the morning, you either crap your pants or have a heart attack. And who are you going to call? Those guys. But as soon as they get a little rough, because it's not like their job entails that every now and then, you all start yelling and screaming, excessive! You can't do that! You're right. Legally, maybe you can. But I love it when they do. I love it. I want the streets back. I want them back.
Well, I think you're the man to lead that charge.
Nah. You think so? How do I lead the charge? What do I do to do that?
Get together with Rabbi New.
Right. Well, Rabbi New is a God-bearing, he's not a violent man, though.
Well, that's a good thing. But with him,
you know what he said? He said,
go to the community center.
Right, and say, go out there, and I'm all for excessive force.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The Rabbi New said yesterday, the meeting a couple nights ago, where they postponed the decision on the Chabad, was a shanda.
Was a what?
A shanda.
A shanda.
Oh, my God, that's horrible.
What's a shanda?
Shanda is like a circus, but it's bad. But it's bad. Well, no, that's not like a circus.
It's like a farce.
It's like a bad thing. It's a shanda is a bad thing. Like, you shouldn't know from it. It's a shanda.
Oh, okay.
Like, let's say your daughter ends up a hooker. Oh, it's a shanda.
Oh, Jesus.
Nobody wants that, so. So the rabbi was very, very upset that Boca did not do the right thing by him. So we got a great guest list today. I do love Lionel. Like I said, he's very, very smart. He's got a wonderful delivery. And this is not about, listen, I don't argue with my guests. You know that. I find that to be just repulsive radio. Repulsive. So I'll let him come on and tell everybody why I'm so stupid and Neanderthalish and thuggish and all that stuff, and I'm okay with that. So he'll come on at 6:45 and do that. He'll be great. Then coming up at 7:15, we're going to go to Boston, where, again, Aaron Hernandez found out yesterday he will be in jail the rest of his rotten life. We'll also talk Boston Celtic playoff basketball. They've got Cleveland, LeBron James, and the Cavaliers in the first round, and the red-hot Boston Red Sox with a man from the sports reporters, from PTI, from around the horn, Boston Globe writer Bob Ryan, coming up at 7:15. How about that?
That's big. That's cool.
Doesn't end there. We've got more great guests stopping by. ESPN Baseball tonight. Pedro Gomez. He'll be here at 8:15. My favorite ESPN SportsCenter anchor of all time. She loves the New York Rangers and the New York Mets and the New York Giants. The very, very lovely Linda Cohn will be here at 9. And then we'll finish up our last guest of the day, stopping by at 9:30. He's with us twice a week. He covers the New York Yankees. We're the home of the Yanks here on a daily basis for the New York Daily News. The very informative and entertaining Mark Feinsand coming up at 9:30. So a great show coming your way. 888-640-9385. 888-640-9385. One call on the way out. Here's Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Sidney, good morning. First of all, regarding Flint, Michigan, I grew up in Flint in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It was a great town. Secondly, you sound like a young... No, seriously, there was a big GM town.
I remember. Yes.
Okay, now, secondly, I love it when you go into these tirades because you sound like a younger, fitter, Jewish version of myself.
Really?
Then, I'm in my 70s now. Thirdly, on the show that comes on before you, the guy who was talking, anyway, said these attorneys for Hernandez were not even trial attorneys.
And they still won the case.
And they still, they lost the case.
Oh, you mean the defense attorneys, right? They were not trial attorneys. Excuse me, right? The prosecution won. And thank you for the kind words, Jeff. I don't care. No, I don't care. Like I said, I guess every defense attorney I spoke to, including my wife, who's a wonderful defense attorney, really thought he was getting off. I mean, there was a legitimate amount of shock and awe when in fact they read the verdict and he was guilty of murder one, and I was aroused.
No, well,
I got sick of his stupid smug face sitting there, and he's a good-looking guy, don't get me wrong, but stay strong, he says to his wife and his dopey fiance and his mother. Stay strong.
Well, this jury actually had the brains to think for themselves and not just be led.
And a heart.
Well, they thought for themselves. They were free thinking. Even though they didn't have a motive, they could put together what they saw evidence-wise, and they made the right decision.
What?
Yes. What do you mean, what? The jury.
What about them?
They're the people that deserve the credit in this.
No, I deserve the credit.
You?
Yes.
How you?
Because I put it out there. Enough is enough. I made sure the jury would come up with that verdict. Me, I'm the one. I find lately that I try, at least I try, to take as much credit for things I have nothing to do with as possible. It's kind of like the President of the United States. It comes on like the State of the Union and goes, well, the economy is great and everything's going great. And it's like, yeah, but Barack, you have nothing to do with that. Well, it's okay. It's under my watch. So I'm going to start doing that, basically. I'm going to start taking credit for all the things that I think are going well, whether I have something to do with it or not. Why not? Obama does that. Why can't I do that? So I'm going to take the credit here. I believe that there was a karma sent out of this radio studio for months where you and I were very adamant about the fact that Mr. Hernandez is a thug and was guilty. And I believe that somehow or another, by osmosis, it reached these fine people, the jurors up in Massachusetts, and they had no choice but to find this animal guilty.
Oh, well, I'll go with that. I like that idea.
Thanks, bro.
The karma.
You got a rough day coming up. I feel bad for you again. I'm sorry for Al DeLillo. How's he doing? Okay, your brother-in-law?
Everyone's hanging.
You look nice, though. You look nice. A nice pair of pants.
I look like a
Nice.
waiter.
No, you look nice. What time's the funeral?
11.
11 a.m.?
Yeah.
So you'll be at the picnic at 12:30?
Oh, well, that would be rough.
No, you'll be at the picnic.
No.
You'll be at the picnic at 12:30.
I thought you would discuss this with Z-Mac.
I discussed it with the new parent company, and they're expecting you. They understand you're going to a funeral. And by the way, they were very upset and sent all of their condolences to DeLillo and Tanya, the whole crew.
So upset they want me at
It was very heartfelt,
picnic,
but they understand that you can't be there at noon when the picnic starts, but at least by 1:30 you need to show up. So.
I really don't want to.
I understand.
Crush their.
No, you'll be there. No, you'll be there, son.
Their hopes. But
no, you'll be there. So you go to the funeral, go back to DeLillo's house and chop off a bun cake or something, and get the hell out of there. What is it? What? Stop stuttering. You're like John. You're like stuttering John. What is it?
I guess I'll have to talk to Leo myself. I'll have to call Leo.
No. He doesn't want to talk to you.
What do you mean? We're boys.
No.
We
You're not even
the day
boys,
together in the meeting.
You want me to show you how many text messages me and Leo back and forth? You're not boys. He barely even knows you.
He barely.
You're an extension of me, basically. I mean, you're just it's you're okay because you're with Sid. You know. I mean,
no. He saw what I'm worth to this station when we had our meeting. He knows what time it is.
That's the problem. That's the last thing that you want. You'd rather he was completely in the dark. The last thing you need is him to actually figure out what we're all worth to this station. You don't need that. All right, 888-640-9385. Once again, Lionel, the very talented and entertaining Lionel, coming up in a few minutes, and then we'll get the rest of the guests on as well. Bob Ryan, Pedro Gomez, Mark Feinsand, and Linda Cohn. 1,000 topics, playoff hockey, playoff basketball, baseball, politics, news, all of it. And we come back on a very busy Thursday right after this.
Okay, guys, welcome to paradise.
Welcome back to the Sid Rosenberg Show on 640 Sports.
I got a mail.
As police pursued the armed suspect, dash cameras captured the violent collision.
Oh! Man down.
This the graphic view from Officer Michael Rapico's squad car as he slams into the suspect at 40 miles an hour.
It's outside the box and it's unusual, but if he doesn't take that action, I believe we're probably answering questions to a much more horrific tragedy.
Mario Valencia was hospitalized but survived the crash, booked for holding up a convenience store, trying to burn down this church, robbing a home, hijacking a car, then driving to a Walmart where police say he stole a rifle. Marana police officer Dan Rowan spots the suspect, holding the rifle to his chin.
He's got the gun to his neck.
A single shot is fired into the air by Valencia.
All right, one round just went out. Unit right there, just stand off. The gun is loaded.
Moments later, Officer Rapico rams the suspect. Valencia's attorney outraged by the use of force.
Sometimes when this place gets kind of empty, sound of their breath fades with the lights. I think about the loveless fascination under the Milky Way tonight.
All right, that's courtesy of ABC. First thing Z-Mac says to me is, let me get it. He tried to burn down a church. He robbed 3 places, stole a gun, and fired the weapon into the air. And I swear to God, it's not me. Lionel's going to join us momentarily. Z-Mac says they should have killed the guy.
What does he serve in this? What positive purpose does that man serve
None.
in this world?
I wish they would have killed him. I feel the same way.
Tried to burn a church down.
And I'm telling you, he would have turned around if the cop would have slowly gone after him and shot the cop. And today we'd all be, oh my God, and watching another cop get buried by some psycho who committed not 1, not 2, but like 6 crimes in the matter of an hour. And we're worried about how it's kind of like the terrorists. Let's not waterboard these bastards. We're worried about how they feel. Right? They can cut our heads off, but let's not stick tubes up their ass. I mean, give me a break. Anyway.
Firing a weapon, just walking around firing a weapon in the air. Not even a handgun.
No, a shotgun.
A shotgun.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not your place to talk about this because you're not that smart. Neither am I. My next guest, though, is. And he's a great guest, and we become friendly. And I'm glad he's back with us. And here he is to tell us why you and I are both basically Neanderthal thugs, is Lionel. Good morning, Lionel.
I wouldn't say you're a Neanderthal thug.
Yeah. What would you say?
You're not a Neanderthal. Thug, yes, but not a Neanderthal. Look,
This guy deserves never to walk the street again. This is a lunatic. Nobody's in favor of him. Are you kidding me? And by the way, let's go back a couple of things, couple of points. Okay. You know, there are 1 million, about 900,000 cops on the street in the nation. Every single day that goes by, days, weeks, there's not a shooting. There's nothing. By virtue of just the math, police are restrained, professional. This is a rarity. And by the way, it's the dash cam that made all of this possible.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And in this case, should this officer be, or Rapico should be fired? Of course not. Now, but let me ask you this question. Sid.
Yeah.
Let's assume. Now, I know we hate the guy, and by the way, this is the best morning show.
Thank
Anybody who can break into from a gentleman's club to an ad for an AC company to help me prevent from sweating my balls off. You don't hear this.
No.
You don't hear this,
Not every
and for
day.
good reason. I kid, of course. I love this.
Right.
But let me ask you something.
Sure.
What if the officer, instead of ramming him, had done human Frogger, all right? And by the way, is this guy, whoever... The NFL should say, why didn't this kill him? What is with his body? How could he take? Imagine there are people who are retired, you know, ECT. I mean, it's not funny. People who have played, who were hit by butkus, and they're speaking with an Armenian accent all of a sudden. This guy's hit with a car at 40 miles an hour, does end over end, and survives. Wow.
That was amazing. I was amazed by that, too, yes, because it was a pretty violent collision.
Mean, seriously. I thought, that's it. But what if the officer, instead of doing this, pulled over, took out his, let's say, 30-06, and just popped him right there? Forget about driving. I know you would say so what, and that's great.
Right.
But there are these things called the rules.
What happens?
What
happens if the officer pulls up slowly, takes out his weapon, and by the time the officer takes out his weapon, he's got 2 rifle gunshots in the middle of his forehead? Well, why should he have to take that chance?
Not only that, he had a grenade under his jacket and threw it into the car, causing the car to explode, and then causing a series of fires to break out, leveling the entire community of Tucson. You want to play that? We can do this all day. And then let's assume he has kryptonite. All right, fine. Yeah. But aside from that,
hold on. When you tell the guy to stop and drop the gun, and the man fires a gun,
somebody else did.
Right, and the man fires a gun. Doesn't matter. A cop had already told him, and the man fires a gun into the air. All these other crazy assumptions.
Listen, that police officer, the one who said, "Hey, drop the gun," who fires a rifle, he would have had absolute 100% right to pop him right there. Let's just assume this officer, instead of pulling up, slowly, quietly pulls over.
Yeah.
This guy Valencia can't hear him. He pulls out a 30-06 with a scope and takes him out with a sniper shot from, let's say, a block or 2 away.
Right.
Now, he would have been in big trouble. I'm not saying that's the way the law should be, but they would say, wait a minute, you can't do that. What about getting on the microphone? No, you don't understand, sir. He threatened another officer, and okay, fine. But most people would say, still, you can't just, because somebody has fired a gun, they don't have in the police academy this rule that says, once somebody shoots a gun, it's okay. Just wherever you see him, just shoot him.
That should be the rule.
Pull him over. Just pop him wherever you see him.
See, you're missing the point. The point is that should be the rule. I understand it's not the rule, and maybe this officer will have to pay the price, but I'm tired of burying officers because of stupid rules. That's my problem, okay?
No, listen, I understand it. And by the way, one of the things, too, is you got to understand that we have this thing called training. Yeah. And they go and they learn. And the police officers themselves will tell you, no, we don't want to start shooting people because we think that's the guy with the gun.
Hey, Lionel, let me give you a personal story about training, okay? You'll appreciate this. It was a silly charity fight, a very silly charity fight. We did raise $250,000 for children with cancer, which I'm proud of, but I fought.
Good for you.
Thank you. Don Imus, executive producer, Bernard McGurk in the ring. And I got to tell you that for 6 months, Lionel, I trained. I trained with Teddy Atlas. I trained every single day. I ran. I lifted weights. I, quote-unquote, trained. And the fight started, okay? And it wasn't 30 seconds into the fight, I got punched across the face. And let me tell you what happens at that point. all that training, all that wonderful hard. That goes out the door. Now you're in survival mode, buddy. That's human nature.
And that's why you're not a professional boxer.
Or a cop.
Because Lou Duva or Angela Dundee would say, whoa, Sid, hold it. He's doing that on purpose. Watch the pros. You don't get mad. That's why you're not a professional boxer. Right. You're right. And the police officers will tell you, the professionals, the guys who have been doing this for years, say, no, Sid, you don't shoot the guy. Look, I understand they have a tough route, but here's the problem. What scares me are two things. Number one, we are becoming, and not this case, just forget this.
Okay.
But this case in this horrible South Carolina case of this man who was just basically shot for, like somebody said, deer hunting. We're getting habituated to it. We're getting conditioned. It's like there is. How about the pop? How about Barney Fife, who can't tell his taser from a regular gun? Every single day, we are seeing more and more police excesses, rare though they may be, and they are rare. Let's do not indict all police. Of course not. And then we throw in these cases like Eric Garner in Staten Island. That's a terrible case. He resisted arrest. Michael Brown menaced the police officer. Even Tamir Rice had what appeared to be a weapon. Now, why they didn't use, this is the young man who had the pellet gun, why, again, they didn't use any bullhorn is another story. But when I hear people say things like this, not you, and by the way, don't you ever change. This is the best radio. This is the best morning radio disguised as a sports show. And what's interesting, the team, you start off with Dream Academy, life in another time. Sweat your balls off, kill him! Kennedy and the Beatles. The juxtaposition is amazing. The artistic grace.
Just so you know, none of that is an accident. None of that.
No, nothing. None of it. This is called controlled chaos.
That's right.
It's brilliant.
That's right.
But in this case, I would say, okay, folks, officer, please, you did the right thing here. We don't do police Frogger. Do we understand that? If at all possible. Now, if he's standing there with a gun trained on somebody, and let's do the Rosenberg scenario, the worst thing possible. There's a group of orphans. Okay, fine. Then you ram away, whatever you want to do. I understand that. That's exigent circumstances. That's the immediacy. And this idea. But when, and not you now, because this is radio and this is great. I mean, this is a work. By the way, see the Iron Sheik documentary. That's all I got. This is, I mean, you are the greatest heel/face there is. I don't even know what it is. You're kind of in that weird transition. But when other people sit back and they say that when you are declared a dirtbag, whoever the dirtbags are, and there are plenty of them, the police officers don't have to worry about things like rules and training. That's what concerns me. Not you, mind you.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. But here's my problem too. Is that Lionel? The Garner case gets a lot of publicity. Obviously,
the worst case. It's the worst.
Right.
It's the worst. This guy was arrested 31 times.
Right.
You know, Sid, he had more arrests under his belt than the cops.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Do you understand that if anybody knew the procedure, there's an old expression. I used to be a prosecutor in Hillsborough County, the 13th Judicial Circuit. We always say, you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. Come on. The guy's going to take you in. Tell that to the judge. Relax. Okay, that's an awful case.
No, but the point is, these stories, because they're so salacious, somebody dies, it's easy to beat up. You're a public official, so they get all this pub. And my point is, right now, in some really bad neighborhood in Queens or in the Bronx or in Harlem or in Watts or in every city across America, there's a cop who's being shot at. There's a cop who guys are sitting around the corner, smoking crack, figuring out a way to shoot this guy so they can gain some points in their gang, and nobody talks about that.
Where are these places? Where was this?
They're everywhere.
Charlie Bronson and Martin Balsam with the M50?
They're
right
everywhere.
now, as we speak, on a stoop in Queens, there are some crack-addled guys planning on how to shoot a cop.
That's right.
Look, you've been away for
Pitkin Avenue, baby. Pitkin Avenue. Right now, they're trying to figure out how to kill this guy.
They meet in the morning. How do we do this?
Right. That's
Jerry,
exactly
put
right.
the crack pipe down. Would you wait till we organize the meeting? Every time we try to have the meeting on how to shoot the cop, you get so fried.
But you know what I'm
forget
saying.
The
I mean, the point is that they go into these neighborhoods and they go through these horrible situations every single day. It gets no press, but when something goes wrong, and it does, oh my God, these people, these cops are the worst. We got a huge issue.
Let me ask you something which is interesting, which is fantastic. This is as a student of news, watch how the story, read on social media, this is fantastic, says how they say, for example, they rammed him, they ran him over. The BBC, for example, emphasizes the fact that this was a suicidal suspect who's walking down the street. It's interesting how, he might have been suicidal, but apparently he was not that suicidal. The point is, this police officer, by the way, who was ex-NYPD, and I think someplace else, Phoenix or something, but he should not, believe me, he is not, don't confuse this with any other case. The problem is simply this, and let's just move away from this, Sid. There are police officers who are filtering through the training process. I want your listeners right now to Google and follow me at Lionel Media, because I put this stuff up, and I'm a cop fan too. Listen, but read the number of police forces and departments who basically tried to who eliminated people who scored too high on IQ tests. Okay, I'm not kidding you. That sounds like a story I'm making up. It's true. We are getting this RoboCop version that, frankly, is filtering through. There is still, not here, mind you, but in other places, a militarized police of a bunch of people you don't want out there. And there's also a group of people who love whenever there is the more friction, the more problems, the more us versus them. And let me also just say to the rest of the news media, this really pisses me off, Sid, because you know I love you.
Right.
When people say things like, our race relations in the country at an all-time low. No, the race relations, we get along fine. The cops, some cops, and some folks, races, demographics, whatever it is, they have a problem. We get along just fine. Quit saying that we're not harboring racial animus towards anybody. But Sid, you've got to understand, look at these cases. Do you know how many have been there throughout the years where black folks have said, do you understand? And I know your friends in Boca may not have ever been stopped. I never got an Arbitron diary in my life, but I know they have them.
Right.
I never had a Nielsen box, but I know they have them. I know this happens. And there are people out there, there is a perception from black people, people of color, Latinos, even stopped by black police officers. They will tell you time and time again, there's a whole group of people who are saying, thank God now for these cameras. Thank God. You don't know what's going out there. You have no idea. And then you hear these people, especially New York. You know, in the old days, there was a cop on the beat who gave you a beating for just looking at him the wrong way. Those were the great days. Yeah. Really?
That's my
Those
guy,
were
Bo.
the great days?
That's my
I
guy,
don't
Bo
think so.
Dietl. That's my guy, Bo Dietl. He says that. I love when Bo comes on and does stuff
Bo
like that.
Dietl, by the way, who was killing him, you know that Bo Dietl, it's all an act. His real name is Cecil Cathcart. He's from the north end of London. That's all an act. If you call Bo Dietl in the middle of the night and he wakes up and says, hello, Bo, excuse me, we're talking about... I want Bo Dietl to be the Secretary of Defense and just scare the hell out of people. That being said, there is not a war on the police. The great police, the professionals, the ones who say, whoa, wait a minute, hold it, take it easy. They're being harmed by these clowns and these rodeo folks. And when you go into, and I hope they stop this, when you go into Muncie and Bug Tussle and Armpit, Arizona, and you turn over through 1033 government programs, hey, would you like to have an MRAP? Would you like to have Kevlar? Hey, Barney Fife, would you like to be Mr. Badass? Would you want military surplus? You betcha. That's when we've got problems. Not here. So just to clarify, in this case right here, this officer basically probably saved a life. I do not do not recommend using your police car as an instrument unless you positively cannot possibly avoid it. If I represented this officer, I would say he had probable cause, he had reasonable suspicion, he was told this. This guy's walking on the street with a rifle. And by the way, it's not that we just saw a guy with a rifle going over to his neighbor Dave's house to sell him the .22. No, right. This was a bolo, a be on the lookout. We got it. We understand it. This, however, is not good because I would say to you, if it's okay to use deadly force with a car, as he did, and under the state of Florida and elsewhere, deadly force is force which is likely to cause great bodily harm or disfigurement. He could not have used a sniper rifle to pick him off. Now, in the Sid Rosenberg world, you would have said, that's wrong, and you may have a point there. But deadly force is used only when it has to be done to stop something. Had he stood in front of a house and trained that rifle on the occupants of a house or pointed it at a person, absolutely.
I got you.
He's walked. Yeah. It could have been a better set of facts. Granted, he shouldn't be indicted, shouldn't be charged. This guy's going to be a hero. And let me tell you what else you should do. Sid, you start this right now. Trust me, start a GoFundMe or whatever these funds are, right. And you start this right now and raise money for this officer for his either defense or his family
or his suspension.
Or any psychological counseling he has. Yeah. Because that's what we do now. If you're a baker and you refuse, next thing you know, you're a millionaire the next day. Right. So that's what we do. So let's start the Sid Rosenberg. And by the way, the spelling of his last name should be a sobriety test. Good luck with that one.
Hey, as always, that's great stuff. Thank you. You never disappoint, Lionel, ever. Thank you.
Damn show. I'm telling you, Sid. I don't want to tell South Florida, but why are you there? Do you know how bad it is here? Do you have any idea? I gave up on it. Seriously. I gave up. I'd rather lick a belt sander than listen to this radio. I'd rather drink bleach. I'd rather carpet tack my epididymis to particle board than listen to this dreck. I'd rather listen to baby monitors than listen to the horrid state in the number one market in the nation. The radio, it's so gravitational. It sucks the life and soul out of you.
Yeah. Well, I love you. Thank you. God, he was great. See, now my day, how do you get your day started better than that? He comes on, Lionel, and follow him at Lionel Media because his tweets are great too. And he's got energy, and he's got fervor, and he's smart. And I know that he hosted his own radio show for a very, very long time. I don't know if does he still host well, it's not a daily show, right? He does, like special shows. Is that right, Eric? Not a daily show.
I thought he was on the air every day.
He should be. I mean, the guy's great. I have no reason to say that. I've never met him. He's now been coming on the show for, how long has Lionel been coming on the show?
A year?
About a year. It's funny. I remember I reached out to Lionel for the first time when I was at $7.90 the ticket. When I first decided, about 5 or 6 years ago, to start just kind of peppering in some politics and news with the show, which they always frowned upon there, but I didn't care. And Lionel couldn't do it because he was on like 940 or something here, which was a Clear Channel station. And so they wouldn't allow him on that Clear Channel station to come on the Lincoln Financial station. So make a long story short, I had to wait a couple of years. We finally got him on, how long ago? What'd you say?
I'd say for the past year he's been on here.
About a year.
Maybe more, but right around a year.
And every time he comes on, whether you agree with his opinion, enjoy the content or not, it doesn't matter. He's such a great radio guy. His voice inflection, when he gets angry, when he doesn't, when he's serious, when he's sarcastic, his command of English language is beautiful. So I love the guy. I think I have nothing to. He can't do anything for me, to be honest. So I can't gain anything by saying nice things. I just think the guy is a great guest. A great guest. We will take a short break. Aaron Hernandez is going to prison for life. The Celtics are about to take on LeBron James and the Cavaliers, and the Red Sox are red hot atop the AL East. We talk everything Boston with Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe and Sports Reporters right after this.